Hello, people. Welcome in. Gonna make this intro short. I have a special guest with me, as you can see from the title and thumbnail, allegedly. I have Gecko with me. Say hello, Gecko.
Hello, hello, hello.
There you go, the man himself. All right. Well, I know most of you know a lot about Gecko. He's my thumbnail artist, the one and only. He's also a great fucking YouTuber. Pretty sure you know it. And
Allegedly.
there you go, allegedly. And then, yeah, he is also a tourney player, which is what this video is mostly about. The comp scene, the getting into tournaments, and more stuff incoming. So tune in. We got some great tips from Gecko and myself to go into the tournament on January the 6th. Remember the date, January the 6th. We're gonna have a tournament. It's gonna be hosted on my Twitch, on Griffin's YouTube. Check that out. And then two other people will be hosting it, which will be announced later on. But yes, for now, this is the details you guys need to know. And yeah, let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and start us off with point number one, which is practice. A lot of practice. Get into the shooting range, which is something I personally do not do, but I realize every great player, every tournament winner you've seen, every tier one you see in tournaments. They go into a shooting range before they get into any game of ranked pubs, whatever it is. They get into the shooting range, they check their aim out, whatever it is they need to do. They warm up pretty much their hands, get used to the controller for the day on the shooting range, and then move on to whatever they're doing next. Now, that also moves on to practice on ranked. I know some of you people here do not like ranked and do pubs and are good pubs players, but it's a different story on ranked. So get into strikeout, get into demo, and then the last game mode, which is in this tournament, this upcoming tournament, is COF. So I would advise everyone to join ELO Chords, which I will put a link to in the description, to join there and practice your game modes pretty much and learn your maps, learn all of that, which I believe is what Gecko will be talking about soon. So there you go. Gecko, go ahead. Take us up.
First, let's talk about crouch spray whenever to tighten up your bloom. So whenever you're at far ranges, you shoot in bursts instead of shooting too many bullets at once. Because if you shoot too many bullets at once, then you'll most likely miss all of your shots. Uh, if you're also crouch spraying, it will also keep your head moving and make your hitbox smaller, which will help you avoid shots and you should be able to kill your opponent as long as you're able to hit your shots, and they will be missing their shots because of your crouch spamming.
W Mans, crouch spam. So speaking of the crouch and movement, the second point I have is movement. Um, Learn how to move around, how to make sure you're behind cover at all times. Not just camp behind cover, but to where you make sure your left side is not fully exposed, your right side is not fully exposed, your back is not fully exposed. Have an angle to where you see your opponent, but at the same time, uh, their teammate doesn't see you from another angle to where they can cover perfectly. So learn what's on your left, what's on your right. Look at that before you even look at your opponent. Make sure you're aware of what's going on around you. And yeah, go ahead and Gecko.
So, along with uh, staying behind cover, we have quick peeking corners. So, whenever you do this, you don't want to expose your body too long. So, you just expose your body, take a few quick shots with the crouch spamming, and then you just get back behind your cover so you don't end up getting beamed yourself when people are trying to shoot you. And I think that's it for that tip.
For my third tip, it's gonna be learn the meta weapons. Not gonna lie to you, you go into ranked, you go into elo, you go into tournaments, and there's the common couple of weapons that you see. You see the Sahara, one of the greatest weapons in the game. I think Gecko will definitely agree with me there.
Agree.
Um, you got, I mean, your DMRs, but they're mostly banned in tournaments, so I wouldn't even go there. Maybe the Mamba learn how to use that one. LMGs, because you're gonna see a lot of Anvil if you don't choose them. So learn that as well with Mac, and then your SMGs. You got your Knight, of course. You want to learn how to use the knight, although it's really easy to learn, but go ahead with that. And then for SMGs, you got the D40, which can compete, the objection can compete, but only close range. So learn how to use every single weapon that's allowed in the tournament. There's no melees, so make sure you know that. Don't depend on the melees. Only one sniper is allowed, which is the full body. No melees. All pistols are allowed, so learn how to use every single gun that is meta. For assault rifles, you got the HRM Sahara, and then maybe the Nightshade. But other than that, I wouldn't go with the other ones. But yeah, learn those, learn how to use them. Again, go in the shooting range to learn how to use those, and then go into public games to see if that works or not. See what gun works for you, what rogues work for you, and from there, pretty much you can be ready for whatever game mode you got going on.
All right. For my next tip, I got learn the maps and the rotations that people take. If you know the locations on the map and the names for certain spots on the maps, it'll help you be able to rotate safely to where you can get a few shots on people from their side without letting them know where you are. And you can also cut people off in the most common places that people hide. Uh, so then you can shoot them from their side or from behind without them knowing that you're there.
There you go. The map rotations. That is an important part. Fucking, I always stress this. Like I told Gecko before this. If he doesn't have that point, I'm gonna have that point. Learning your maps, learning the rotations, and then learning the spots you're in and how people play in a competitive scene is always important. So make sure you know that. Now, moving on to my last tip, which is the second last tip for today, it's gonna be your rogues. So Juke and Fixer are banned. This should be known. Juke and Fixer are banned from the tournaments, and then you got your four bans. Now, this is why you need to play multiple rogues, so that you're not dependent on one, two, or three of them. Make sure you're versatile. Make sure you play what your team needs, which is sometimes you might have to be support. And make sure you're aware if you're playing support to not push. Make sure you know how each rogue is played. This is really important because if you're a saint on your team and you die first, your team is at a huge disadvantage, especially if there's a Dahlia on the other team that's still alive. So make sure you learn your rogues and how to use every single one of them, how to use their abilities, their utilities. These are really, really important for every single game and game mode that's coming up for this tournament. So yes, make sure to learn all that, and we're gonna be moving on.
So I still have two tips left. Actually, I'm gonna leave one quick one.
Oh,
So this quick one, just in cost specifically, know when to go to the next site. You don't want to spend too much time on a point or have too many people on the point. You only need to have one person. Having multiple people doesn't give you any more points, doesn't give you points quicker. And you should also know when to go to the next point, which typically could be around with 20 or 40 seconds left on the hill, but it could
I'd
also change
say
depending on how much points people have on the other team, how many points you have, where the actual enemies are, how many are alive, etc., etc. But the base range is probably around 20 to 40 seconds. And then also know when to take fights and when you should also avoid them. Remember, there's strength in numbers, so if you have more people in a location on your team than the other team, play aggro and get that kill if you can. But you should also be aware of who you are pushing. So obviously you don't want to push on top of each other if you're going to be pushing like a Ronin or a Kestrel, because all it takes is one ult and boom, you're all dead. So don't stack on top of each other. Either push two separate sides, and then you can easily get that kill without worrying about getting yourselves all killed. If you're the one being outnumbered in the situation, apply enough pressure so you don't get pushed yourself, and just try to hold off the enemies so you don't end up getting pushed and your teammates can come and save you. And that is all for my tips.
there it is. One last thing, Gecko. One last thing is who should people ban on this tournament for each game mode? What's an ideal ban? In your opinion, I'm gonna put my opinion. But what's your ideal bans and picks? Pretty much like what's the top rogues? Since we already know Juke and Fixer are banned, who would you ban besides those?
So Demolition, I would say ban Ronin, and then you could ban Trench and Anvil, Either of those would be good options. Ronin, just so you don't have to worry about her sneaking around, and uh, for Trench and Anvil, obviously, so they don't just hold down the points and make it even harder for you and your team to attack. For Strikeout, you definitely want to get out the hard hitting rogues. So you could do Scorch or Kestrel, Mac. For Koth, I would do could be Lancer, just so her rotations she doesn't get to places quick. Scorch, Kestrel. Kestrel is just like probably the best rogue in the game at the moment, just because of how strong her ult is.
I would have to agree.
Or you could do Trench. Trench in King of the Hill is definitely a menace. So
Definitely.
those are some of my good options, but it also can vary depending on whatever map you are on.
W fucking picks. I'll tell you that much. Honestly, I would say I agree for the most part. The one thing I would change is I would ban Vi and Demo or King of the Hill because she's definitely one of those rogues that can push you off wherever you are with the mollies and Vi poison. And then for respawn modes like Strikeout and Koth, the one thing I would also ban is Sigrid. She is genuinely so powerful right now and one of the best rogues genuinely to push anybody with her kit and shield. Just too OP, can get to site before anyone. And yeah, honestly, that's a rogue I would ban in respawn modes. In demo, it's more like you have a team usually with you to team shoot or buy an EMP, whatever the case may be. And then for demo, another ban I would go for is Dima, purely for the fact that it's not respawn and he has so much utility that even APSs sometimes can have a hard time to deal with. But yeah, Trench I agree with. Ronan I agree with. Kestra I agree with. Scorch 100% agreed with. And then you got, yeah, Anvil, Dima, and then Vi. I think those, and Sigrid, those are ideal picks or bans, first picks and first bans. And then one sleeper pick that I would go for on Koth especially. I've realized how OP Mech is on Koth. Mac is genuinely him on Koth, and the link with Dolly makes him even double the menace he already is. So make sure if you're not banning Mac on Koth to at least pick him because he is genuinely that good for the game. But yeah, that's it for today. That's our tips. It's been me and Gecko. It's been an honor to record with this man. And yeah, we're gonna get the thumbnail ready, I guess, soon. But yeah, you guys have a good one. And go ahead, Gecko, say your pieces, I guess.
Bye, guys. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to Thief.
There it
Absolutely
is.
great guy.
W
Definitely
man.
deserves the love.
Appreciate it, man. Genuinely do. And of course, Gecko's link will be in the description and will be in the title, of course, if you guys haven't checked them out already. But yeah, I'm gonna leave a couple links here and there, as I said, for Elos and people so you can get tips from and ask questions. But yeah, if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try my best to answer them to the best of my ability. And yeah,